Imagine suing a dry cleaner for losing your pants to the tune of $67 million. Sounds ridiculous, right? In 2005, this became a reality when Roy Pearson decided to sue custom cleaners for allegedly losing his trousers. But it wasn't just about the pants. The case took an unexpected turn due to the staggering amount Pearson demanded as compensation. He claimed this exorbitant sum for his inconvenience, mental anguish, and even the cost of a rental car to reach another dry cleaner. A bit over the top, wouldn't you agree? As the court proceedings unfolded, the world watched with bated breath. Could a pair of misplaced pants really be worth millions? As it turned out, the court didn't think so. In the end, the court ruled in favor of the dry cleaner, leaving Pearson to pay their court fees. A costly venture for a pair of pants, wouldn't you say? Have you ever thought of selling a ghost? Well, someone did, and it led to court. Back in 2010, a rather unique transaction took place on eBay. A man listed and successfully sold a cane, but this was no ordinary cane. It was, as the seller claimed, haunted by a ghost. Now you might be thinking, that's just a fun gimmick, right? Well, the buyer certainly didn't think so. After receiving the cane, he claimed to experience a series of haunting incidents. Spooked and distressed, he decided to sue the seller, arguing that the ghost attached to the cane was causing him trouble. The seller, however, stood his ground. He insisted that he had been crystal clear about the cane's spectral companion. Therefore, he believed he was not to be held responsible for any paranormal activity that followed. The court dismissed the case. Turns out you can't sue for supernatural disturbances. Next up, we have a woman with a fear of pickles suing a TV show. Yes, you heard it right, a fear of pickles. Now let's journey back to the year 2000. A woman took the Maury Povich show to court, alleging they exploited her unusual phobia. This woman, terrified of pickles, claimed that the show's crew intentionally startled her with a giant pickle. You might think it's a joke, but for this woman it was a dreadful ordeal. She argued that the show knowingly and insensitively exposed her to her deepest fear, causing her considerable distress. The case, as bizarre as it may sound, did make it to court. But the legal system, for all its complexities, did not find pickles to be a legitimate cause of fear. So despite the woman's pickle-induced panic, the case was dismissed. The case was dismissed. It seems pickles aren't considered a legitimate fear in court. What could be weirder than suing yourself? Let's find out. The year was 1995, and the protagonist of our peculiar story was Robert Lee Brock. Brock, a prisoner at the time, concocted an ingenious legal maneuver. He decided to sue himself for a staggering $5 million. His argument? He claimed he had violated his own religious beliefs and civil rights by allowing himself to become intoxicated, which subsequently led to the crimes he committed. Imagine the audacity, the sheer creativity to contemplate such a lawsuit. Brock essentially tried to turn the tables on himself, arguing that he was both the perpetrator and the victim. It's a paradox, wrapped in a legal enigma, if you will. As you might have guessed, the case was promptly dismissed. The court found no legal grounds for a person to sue themselves, much to Brock's disappointment, I'm sure. The case was dismissed, but it certainly takes the cake for one of the strangest lawsuits in history. Our next case involves a man who thought he was Batman, and it's as strange as it sounds. Picture this. The year is 2008, and a man dressed head to toe in a Batman costume finds himself on the wrong side of the law. He wasn't fighting crime or swooping in to rescue the innocent. No, this self-appointed Dark Knight was arrested for obstructing police operations. Now you might think this is where the absurdity ends, but the saga was only just beginning. Our Batman impersonator decided to sue Warner Brothers, the studio responsible for producing the Batman movies. His claim? That the films had caused his delusional belief that he was indeed Batman. But the courts were not swayed by his argument. The judge quickly dismissed the case, stating that the defendant could not blame Batman or Warner Brother for his own delusions, thus proving once again that reality and fiction are two very different things. The case was dismissed, proving that you can't blame Batman for your own delusions. Ever bought a haunted house? This next case is about just that. In the year 1991, an unsuspecting couple from New York found themselves embroiled in a peculiar predicament. After purchasing a charming old house, they soon discovered that their new home came with some uninvited guests of the spectral variety. Feeling they had been duped, the couple decided to take the matter to court. suing the previous owners for not disclosing the house's haunted status. In a verdict that sent chills down the spines of estate agents everywhere, the court actually ruled in favor of the couple. This case marked the first time a court recognized a house as legally haunted. Yes, you heard it right, legally haunted. It set a spooky precedent that still echoes in the halls of real estate law today. So, the next time you buy a house, make sure to check for any ghostly inhabitants. Our final case features a man so displeased with the world, he decided to sue God himself. Now, you might be thinking, that's a bit audacious, right? Well, audacity was precisely the hallmark of this peculiar lawsuit. It all happened in the year 2007, when Nebraska State Senator Ernie Chambers decided to take on an extraordinary opponent in court. The defendant? No other than God himself. Yes, you heard that right. Chambers, in a move that sparked worldwide astonishment, filed a lawsuit against the Almighty, holding him accountable for causing all the natural disasters that plague our world. His argument was as thought-provoking as it was controversial. Chambers claimed that, considering the belief that God is omnipresent, he could in theory be served in court. He reasoned that if God is everywhere, then he is indeed present in Nebraska, and therefore falls under the jurisdiction of its courts. In his lawsuit, Chambers accused God of a wide array of offenses, including but not limited to fearful floods, egregious earthquakes, horrendous hurricanes, terrifying tornadoes, pestilential plagues, and devastating droughts. All of these, he contended, caused widespread death, destruction, and terror, which disrupted the lives of his constituents and people worldwide. The case, as you might imagine, stirred up a significant amount of debate. It raised questions about the nature of God, the scope of human responsibility, and the limits of the legal system. It even led some to ponder whether it was even possible to sue a divine entity. But alas, the court's verdict was more pragmatic than philosophical. The judge, in his infinite wisdom, ruled that the case could not proceed because there was no address where God could be served with legal papers. And so, the case was thrown out, as God could not be properly served notice. A divine ending to our list of bizarre court cases, don't you think? This particularly audacious case certainly adds a unique flavor to our eclectic mix of the strangest legal battles in history.